don't know that there are any companies coming out and saying we're agentically running this whole revenue operation inside our business. Then we might get there by the end of the year. So we're in a different world, though. We're in a world of client data.
Yeah,
like you are, we are. We're in a heavily regulated business. I know a lot of the fintech guys are running around on LinkedIn talking about all this shit, but in reality, I actually don't think there are going to be big innovations that are initiated in financial services. I think like most innovation waves, we're going to be more toward the end than toward the beginning, just given the nature of how little you can really experiment when you have people's personal data.
Yeah.
So that's just my gut. I still think we should try, and I still think that we should be experimenting or asking questions and trying to answer them with this new technology. I don't think we should be taking customer information and uploading it into a cloud and hoping that it'll spit back critical insights while simultaneously potentially compromising the people that we're responsible to. That's a corporate policy here. We're not going there. So I know a lot of firms want to, but it won't be us.
It kind of depends on what you're doing. We have some tasks that are just like, someone told me, like 47 spreadsheets to run the accounting for one of our hedge funds.
Well, that's right. That's
crazy.
That's obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but so you add enough of those things, you're saving bodies, right?
Do you think the productivity boom has a positive externality in the stock market that outruns the threat of automation-driven job loss? Like, are you a glass half full or a glass half empty or undecided?
I'm a glass half full.
Okay,
100%,
just always.
But I think a lot of totally unbiased that way. But I do think history supports that. If you look at if you look at charts of how automation has affected different jobs, sure, secretarial jobs are down 75% in 2 decades, but it took 2 decades, for that change to happen. Maybe AI accelerates things, but people are slow to change in general. 40 million women entered the job force after World War II. If you look at an employment chart, you can't see a blip, right? Because that's not how employment works.
And new jobs were created.
And I see, the IT guys at VanEck, who literally last year thought, oh my God, my job is in danger because AI is going to take my job. They are now 5x more productive, and they're not more needed, but as needed as they were. So but I do think it's a huge concern for a lot of people because they're technophobic. People are concerned about their jobs. Like, that is completely legitimate.
Somebody at UBS put out sort of like their own model of what this looks like, and they compared SaaS software companies to newspapers in the 90s. Do you think it could be that dire for a lot of software businesses? Like, we basically ended up with two newspaper companies probably left.
I think there's no AI without data. So if you can add value by organizing data, that's where a lot of this AI activity right now is. It's better organizing data because you realize you've got this great tool, but if you don't have data to process internally that's valuable, and some things are obvious, but some things aren't, that's really where the value is. And so I look at, if Salesforce, we're a big Salesforce user, if they can efficiently organize our data, okay, maybe there's some value, but I would pay less for it. We shortened our Salesforce contract, to only 2 years. And
so what you see happening
our
in the
data
multiples
lake
of those
is
stocks,
separate, and it's competitive. It deserves a re-rating down.
Okay, so you think it's appropriate. Can we talk about chips a little bit?
Sure.
Okay. How outrageous is this on the scale of 1 to 10, what we've seen go on? I'm not saying like talk down the SMH, but like some of the moves. I think Intel's up 100% this year.
Daniel, chart 11.
Or more. Some of the moves, not for you to comment individually on the stocks, but like this seems sort of unsustainable.
Yeah, and you think we're looking at Micron and SanDisk. The EPS went from $9 in March 2025 to $85 for Micron. SanDisk went from $2 to $99. This is the forward EPS. You think that this is a bubble, or what exactly do you think?
So I look at, I take my 10-year perspective. Looking back, do these companies have competitive moats? That's how I look at this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and the answer is yes.
And so I have a thesis on NVIDIA. Maybe we can get to that. I don't think these memory companies have a competitive moat.
Okay.
Because memory, chips became, NVIDIA went from a single commodity GPU provider to being the mainframe of AI. And I'd love to talk about that more, right? These companies they don't really have competitive technology. Sure, there's it's a duopoly, for the most part for memory, but they're vulnerable, and most of their profits are coming because they're like, oh, you need my stuff? I'm going to raise my prices. It's not really value added. Jensen is giving you much more compute. He's like the Walmart of compute, right? He's just giving you better value and more quantity. And that's ultimately what everyone wants.
Is that true?
This stuff, they're just raising their prices.
When you see this earnings expectation, let's just take Micron, $9 to $85. The majority of the growth is not selling more units.
It's prices.
It's price?
Yes.
What disrupts that? You're not going to get a new memory chip company spring up, are you?
Yeah. We don't know, but Chinese memory manufacturers could definitely export.
What if the models get more efficient at the utilization of memory?
Well, that'll happen too.
That'll definitely
happen.
These
this whole ecosystem, that's why I love to say who's going to be around in 10 years, because this whole ecosystem is going to change, right? It's pre-learning, it's inference, every part, it's memory, it's every single part. There's vicious competition, right? And it's changing, right? At some point, our CTO is going to say, stop spending $3 million, or I'm going to tell him, stop spending $3 million on compute. And he's going to say, okay, I'll do fewer API, requests and all this kind of stuff, right? So he'll change his programming to make it more efficient. Actually, we're already doing that. So it's a changing, evolving system. My thesis is that NVIDIA is a blue chip survivor because of CUDA, because of the software. There's nothing more motivated than a founder who used to be in a commodity business, which he was when he was just selling GPUs to game players, right? Then, wow, now I can control an ecosystem, right? So he did a deal on inference. He's doing a deal everywhere in the universe to be, and the analogy I look at is IBM, right? IBM has survived for many, many decades because it was super close to the end customer, and they pivoted from being hardware to software, and then software to services.
Yeah.
And they survived. So you have to be able to pivot as a company. But if you're in that position, it's kind of, in a way, I'm more optimistic than my colleagues, but I think it's NVIDIA's game to lose. At least as being one of the blue chip providers.
Every serious person working in AI is fluent in the CUDA software platform and how to use it, and all the certifications in the AI space, all the training. It's the bedrock of AI. You don't see that as being shakeable anytime in the next few years. That's the key to selling more chips.
They'll get competition. Google has its own chips, like there's other chip
but
makers
the software
out there.
Platform.
But their ecosystem, the ecosystem has to be the cheapest per token at the end of the day, cheapest per result that you want. And so that's why I'm a bull on NVIDIA, because he's like I call him the Walmart of this ecosystem. He's always trying to drive costs down. That's why he said, like, my competitors could give their chips away. It doesn't matter. They're so inefficient. I will kill them.
Last night, they reported, like, yet again, one of the most insane victory laps of a quarter we've ever seen from any company ever. Earnings were up 125%. Revenue was up like 80 or something. They guided higher by $4 billion than the expectations for the rest of the year. They did gross margin 75. Like, they did everything that everyone wanted and more. The stock, I know it rallied 15% into the news, but fell 3.
It's down 1.5%.
Down 1.5% today.
Can I give you my theory on this?
Yeah, what the
Okay. NVIDIA's been, I'm going to call it flat, right, for 9 months or a year. Mm-hmm. And so what was interesting to me is SoftBank sold, right? So someone who had made a ton of money said, okay, I like to take higher risk and I'm going to redeploy my capital. So I love what people are talking about after the internet bubble and how there had to be a rotation in these stocks like Amazon, all these people. It took years to kind of grind through a different shareholder base. And that's kind of, I think, what's happening, right? NVIDIA is going from hyper growth to kind of more blue chip investor
It's still
base.
hyper growth, but I get your point.
No, and so they're looking, and it's got all the DNA of a great blue chip stock. They're starting to pay out dividends. They're doing stock buybacks. They've got great margins, and their cash flow is phenomenal, right? So that's why I think that's what explains why the stock the forward earnings have come down. But it's sort of like, can I sleep at night owning this stock? And I'm like, absolutely. That's me.
Sorry,
I may not make as much money as the next guy.
When did SoftBank sell?
Sometime last year.
And you think that was the pressure on the stock that kept it in a
No,
horizontal plane?
No, not that per se, but it triggered my thinking, Josh, that all these people that have made so much money in this stock, they're just rotating through it. I get it. I get it. That's all I'm saying. It's like